Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Today I am once again with the 1979 Honda CB750K barn find project. I've really been making a lot of progress on this bike recently. The basically pilot jets came in for the bike. I put those in now, and I started the bike up and actually ran it around the block, and when I did, I noticed that it still ran like it was lean. When I inspected a carburetor boot on this side, which I didn't replace, even though it looked good initially, when I started pulling on it, I noticed some holes in it. And I'll show a little clip of that here in the video. But what I did, I went back then and ordered new carburetor boots that go from the airbox to the carburetors. So now every boot on here is new. And I am going to go and do a test drive here in a minute, and we can ride along together and see how it runs. I'm anticipating that that's going to really help my lean condition. That and going up on the jets here, what I'm going to do is just try to get this thing dialed in. I want it to, once it's fully up to temperature, I want it to hold a nice idle around, you know, 1,000, probably between 1,000 and 1,200 RPM. I want it to just hold a steady state idle regardless of temperature, like even when it gets fully warm. Another thing I did was, in riding the bike on the test drives, I'm a tall guy and I sit up in the wind, and what I was noticing was I was just getting, even at 55 miles an hour, man, I was getting a lot of wind blasts. It's kind of makes the bike a little unpleasant to drive for me at those speeds. And so what I did was I went ahead and put a lower Emgo Magna Wide handlebar on the bike. I run this bar on a ton of my vintage bikes. It gives it's a very nice compromise of, it gives you a little bit of lean. It's wide enough to give you leverage on the bars so they handle nimbly, but it leans you into the wind a little bit, so you're not getting as much wind input into the steering, and it's better at high speeds. I've also just put, and this is just two little screws here holding this on, but I've put the Emgo Viper fairing back on the front of the bike, and that's just, it's kind of fun. I like the look of it. I only had enough pinstriping on hand to do one little stripe of the red pinstriping, but I'm actually going to try to match this pinstriping on the fairing, and just really, it's already painted black, but that'll really tie in the look of the fairing with the motorcycle and make it look nice. Well, I'm anxious to see if the modifications I've done, with the boots here and the jetting, but man, I want to see if that really has got this thing dialed into where I want it. I may have to adjust my idle speed on the test drive just to see if I can get that sorted out. But I feel like we've gone over the top of the hill on this project, and now we're kind of coming down the backside of the hill, getting this thing just mechanically ready to rock and dialed in, where, you know, every time I want to ride it, I hit the starter button and I can go. And that's really my goal for these. And then once I have that done, I'll hit some more of the cosmetics. All right, enough talk. Let me get my gear on. Let's ride.
I'm currently riding Honda's CB750K. It's about 48 degrees here, so it is chilly. I am letting the bike warm up. I've just put the carb boots on it. I've just upped the jetting size on the carbs on the pilot circuit, and already I can tell it's definitely running better. I still may need to adjust a couple things to get it set up properly. I definitely like the way that this handlebar is. I'm not being blown around. It's a little bit windy today, and so I'm not being blown around as much as I was. It looks like I need to make sure that my fairing is seated a little bit better here. It's blowing around a bit, but I'll get that mounted properly when we get back to the shop. And then just steady state running here. It seems like it's a little bit cold, but really the carburation is not bad. So we'll go up through the gears here and just see I'll take it on some back roads, see how I like this handlebar. Yeah, I like this bar much, much better. Puts me in a better position of control over the bike. It's natural. I don't feel like it's a huge stretch to the bars. And I've got decent leg room. Engine is pulling cleanly. I can tell that the spacers that I put in the front end are, it makes the front end stiffer. The bike is not as wallowy and it's not as prone to diving under braking. Yeah, much improved. So we'll see when we get back to the shop, once this thing is up to temperature, if it's holding a steady idle. And if not, I'll need to go in. I may need to resynchronize the carbs because there was an air leak when I synchronized them the first time. And I may need to, my air fuel mixture screws, I may need to mess with those to get the bike set up properly. This handlebar definitely improved the handling of the bike. I feel like I can tell what the front end is doing much better. It's a little bit more direct. And I feel like I'm not putting as much input into the bars while I'm driving because I'm a little bit leaned into the wind. And then I'm a little leaned forward so I can actually put pressure on the bars when I need to. Yeah, she's running nice. Since putting that carb boot on there, one of the things I can also tell is the engine is running much smoother. And I think that's just because it was drawing air in the one cylinder. It was running it lean and probably not firing like it should. Wow, what a difference. Yeah, at this speed previously I was just getting blown all over the place. And like I say, even though it's a windy day, right now I'm able to just kind of got a little bit of wind protection from that fairing, a little bit of lean into the bars, so it's just much more stable and nicer. really picks up nice above 6,000 RPM. If I just dial it back to a normal, just cruising pace down through here, bike is very easy. Transitions are nice from side to side. This is a pretty rough road, and I can feel it, but the ride is certainly not punishing at all. Yeah, really, right now, carburation is just flawless. Very, very nice. The bike is noticeably smoother too, which is great.
All right, that was fun. Well, we are making some progress on this machine here. The handlebars have just drastically impacted the way this bike handles. It handles so much nicer with these bars on it. I have so much better control in the corners. And again, it's just that matter of tilting my upper body a little bit forward, having a little bit more pressure on the bars, and it just gives me better control of the bike and a lot more confidence when I'm riding in the corners. I will need to wait for a warmer day to kind of finalize where my carburation is and see if I need to go in there and check things. I've come back to the shop. I've actually gone ahead and synchronized the carbs again, and they were a little bit off, not terrible, but just to, you know, make sure that that's kind of I've got a good baseline there. So that's been done, and really this bike is coming along. It's definitely rideable. If I can get the idle settled down to around 1200 RPM, where it just stays running, and when I'm off the gas it just settles right down to that idle, I'm really going to be done with the carburation at that point. Everything else seems to be really running nicely, but I really need to wait for a warmer day. I want to wait for a 70-degree day where I can get out, you know, 70 or up. I can get out and ride the bike for a little bit of time, let it fully warm up, and then check where my idle is and how it carburetes and all that stuff. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining, and until next time, enjoy the ride.